Listed within this file is a general background information overview of BSAA agent Chris Redfield. As pieced together from various sources, the information listed here is neither complete nor should it be used as a psychological analysis of the subject. Chris Redfield began his military career in the United States Air Force. Possessing a service record replete with both commendations and disciplinary actions, commanding officers have described Chris as uncompromising, possessing unwavering dedication and having a high level of adaptability. It was these traits that saw Chris earn his wings, but also these same traits that brought him into direct conflict with superiors. Unable to settle these differences, Chris retired from the United States Air Force. After retirement, Chris was scouted by Raccoon City's Special Forces STARS because of his superior firearm and hand-to-hand combat skills, along with his qualifications as both fixed-wing aircraft and helicopter pilot. Joining the STARS team, Chris was designated as Point Man PM for Alpha Team. As PM, it was his duty to scout and secure positions ahead of the team. His duties required him not only to be a good shooter and fighter, but also be able to use a wide array of weaponry. It was in this area where he excelled, showing the ability to handle anything from small arms to large weapons, and the flexibility to use them as the situation dictated. Chris's performance with STARS was exemplary. It appeared that he had finally found his niche, but fate had other plans in mind for Chris. Unbeknownst to him, the next chapter in his story was about to unfold on that fateful night in July 1998. The STARS Bravo team, responding to reports of disappearances in the surrounding areas of Raccoon City, abruptly went radio silent. Alpha team was sent in to investigate. Shortly after their helicopter touchdown, they were attacked by wild, ravenous canines known as the BOW Cerberus, and were forced to take refuge in a nearby mansion. The mansion was in reality the Arkley research facility for the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella. It was at this facility that they developed bioweapons and conducted uncounted illegal experiments. Here, Chris and his partner Jill Valentine were forced to combat numerous BOWs as part of an active tactical research plan devised by Albert Wesker. Wesker was the commanding officer of STARS and therefore Chris and Jill's superior, though all of his actions were done at the behest of the Umbrella Corporation. Wesker used his rank in STARS to manipulate Chris and Jill. Wesker unleashed several BOWs into the mansion in order to gather data for his own ends. This tragedy in the Arkley Mountains became known as the Mansion Incident and ended with Chris and Jill destroying the creature known as Tyrant, the death of Wesker and the destruction of the laboratory. Having survived the incident at the mansion, Chris attempted to notify the authorities regarding Umbrella's activities, but all his warnings were ignored due to Umbrella's powerful sway. Having exhausted this option, he attempted to notify the US government of the situation. This too, however, proved fruitless. He knew that taking on such a large corporate entity alone would not be easy, and might in fact prove fatal, but in the end he was left with no other choice. Thus, Chris continued his investigation on his own. Without informing his family of his intentions, he soon departed for Europe. Chris wanted to shield his family from any ill effects his investigation might incur, but ironically, it brought one of his family members into the fray. When Claire Redfield was unable to get in contact with her brother, she journeyed to Raccoon City to find him. Upon arrival in the city, she found the area awash in the terror brought on by the spread of the T-virus. In that land of death and confusion, Claire met Leon S. Kennedy, and together they were able to fight their way out of the city. After the Raccoon City ordeal, Claire flew to Paris to investigate Umbrella's activities in Europe, but she was captured and sent to Rockford Island. When Chris learned from Leon what had happened to Claire, he made his way to Rockford Island to free her. It was there that Chris was confronted with many harsh facts. Umbrella had a research facility in Antarctica. Alexia Ashford was still alive. There was a new virus called T. Veronica, and most surprisingly of all, Albert Wesker was still alive. The man behind the horror of the mansion incident, Chris's former commanding officer, somehow survived the destruction of the mansion. Once again, Chris was unwittingly thrust into one of Wesker's schemes, and he was forced to face the man whose destiny appeared to be intertwined with his own. Chris was easily overpowered by Wesker's inhuman strength, but luck was on Chris's side that day. In the ensuing conflagration that consumed the island, Chris and Wesker's conflict was put on hold for the time being. With his resolve strengthened, Chris determined that no matter at what personal cost to himself, Umbrella would fall. Fast forward to 2003, Chris is in the skies over Russian, his partner, Jill Valentine, by his side. At this point, Umbrella was in dire straits in the wake of the destruction of Raccoon City. The company became embattled in litigation and their stock price plummeted. It was only a matter of time before Umbrella collapsed. It was during this time that Chris learned of Umbrella's plans to develop a new type of BOW. Chris and Jill had obtained information and were headed to the Caucasus laboratory where the Talos plan was being conducted in secret. They were to rendezvous with an anti-bioterrorism unit and attack the location. Not long after this incident, the once seemingly untouchable Umbrella was officially no more. The seed that Umbrella sowed, however, would continue to reap tragedy for the world. BOWs were no longer restricted to areas of conflict, but were now being used in terrorist attacks against innocent civilians. It was at this time that Chris and Jill joined the BSAA, a group dedicated to eliminating those bioweapons. The two of them traversed the world together, partners in the fight to bring bioterrorists to justice. The shadow of Umbrella still loomed large, though, as they would soon discover. When Chris and Jill went to question Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer, about Wesker's whereabouts, they were greeted by the sight of Umbrella's founder lying crumpled on the floor, and the blood-stained figure of Wesker standing over him. This would be the third confrontation between Chris and Wesker. This time the confrontation ended in tragedy, as Jill, seeing no other option, made the ultimate sacrifice to stop Wesker. With one last effort, she charged Wesker and threw both herself and him over the side of a cliff. The BSAA searched for Jill's body for 3 months, but no trace of her was ever found. After 3 months of searching with no success, Jill Valentine was officially declared dead by the BSAA. No one knows what promises Chris made in front of Jill's empty grave, but following her loss, he redoubles his efforts to eradicate all bioorganic weapons wherever they may be. Initially stationed at BSAA's North American branch, his investigations soon took him around the world. He became involved in so many operations that he soon had more missions to his name than any other BSAA member. During one of his investigations, Chris learned of an upcoming bioweapons deal in Africa in connection with a man named Ricardo Irving. Irving's name has come up quite often of late in association with bioweapon smuggling. After informing the BSAA African branch about Irving, Chris urgently requested permission to participate in the operation to arrest Irving. As for the reasons he wished to participate in this mission, Chris would not comment. Whether he is withholding information or not is unclear. As one of the most respected BSAA agents, his presence in this operation greatly increases the chance of success, thus his request has been granted.